It's Tuesday night, 10 p.m., and this is the C3 Podcast.
I guess you've heard of my reputation. I've had my share of fooling around. But everybody needs stimulation.
I had fun, man, just out, the guys joking, we working at the same time, putting the work in as a team. Like I said, man, I'm just glad to be with the guys,
My favorite night of the week?
Good Lord, it's a good day to be a Panthers fan. And we the best. You heard them say it. We are the best, Joe. And we put it on them right in the mouth.
What is up, Panther Nation? It's your boy, the Professor, a.k.a. Tony Dunn, and this is C3 Podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop it up from the fan perspective. I'm here with my homeboys, Joe Riolano and Mel Mayock. What's up, Joey? How's it going?
Oh, another day in paradise here in the low country, I swear. It is getting hotter and hotter every day, but it is Tuesday night. We're here to talk about the Panthers. There's a little bit of Panther news going on, so I'm excited. I can't wait to get right to it. And remember, people, we do this for you guys, for fans, by fans. We do it because we love it, and we want to make sure you guys understand that we're here for you. If you want to participate, please hit us on Twitter, #C3. Aaron Ford, what's up with you, my friend?
What's happening, Joe? Man, I tell you what, man. Tuesday night, there's nothing like it, man. This show is just really taking off. We're getting emails, people really hitting us up saying how much they love it and how they're listening to it overseas. I tell you, it means a lot to a lot of people, but it doesn't mean any more to anybody than me. I love it. As I said in the intro, it's my favorite night of the week, man. A lot to talk about.
Yeah, we are pumped up and excited, guys. We've got a fantastic show tonight. Tonight's episode is Bird Watching in Spartanburg, and this is episode 16.25. That's right. We've already done 25 shows since the end of the Super Bowl, guys. We cover all the time as just having fun, talking Panthers from the fan perspective. That's right. You can, like Joe said, you can use the #C3 to jump in the show, and you can comment on YouTube. Guys, tonight we're going to be, we have a special guest. I caught up with Damiere Byrd yesterday, Carolina Panthers wide receiver. We talked with Damiere last year going into his first training camp, so we caught up with him again as he's going into his second training camp. And, there is a little buzz around this name. He is a favorite among us. T-Money 1993 gives us a hard time for rooting, or at least for me, for rooting for my guys a little bit too much. But when you talk to this kid, excited, and you wish people the best of luck. So we'll get to that about close to half past the hour, and we're going to get into some Panther news, Kurt Coleman contract extension, and some other small things, and camp starting next week. In the back end of the show, we'll talk about some camp battles that we expect to watch as training camp unfolds this week. Guys, I do want to put out this is that we have, like Joey said, we do this because we have a great time talking Panthers football. That's number one. And number two, we like to build Panther Nation. And, you guys have been helping us. I'd like to give a shout out to David H., who has contributed to us on Patreon. We also got Roger David Wilson Jr., who sent us a fantastic message, man. Really made my day about how the show, how we enjoyed the show. And Joey, I think he described the show in better terms than I've ever been able to capture what we do. And that is like a road trip with your buddies. Right. And on the way, you're talking Panther football. So, like, rolling to the game, and you just are chopping up Panther football. So, and also Mark Lemke, all $4 pledgers coming in hard. You can help the show. You can go to our website and go to the podcast section, and you can help us just by giving us $1. I say buy us a beer. And that just helps us keep the website running and paying those small bills. If not, the best thing you can do for our show is to give us a share and to help build Panther Nation. So we're going to jump into things right away. Kurt Coleman, guys, extended 3-year contract. This broke about 30 minutes ago, I think.
That's about right.
That's the hottest news. So if we're talking about what's hot in Panther Nation, Kurt Coleman 3-year extension. Immediate, quick reactions to this. Joey, how do you feel? I mean, obviously, we saw something like this coming, or this is a good move.
I think so. I'm ecstatic with this move. Coleman was one of the leaders, if not the leader, for interceptions in the league last year with 7. Just has a strong presence back there. Really good at making sure he's in the right place at the right time. And, it's that veteran leadership that we need because we do have a bunch of young guys back there, so he's going to provide some sort of stability and some kind of a presence where these guys can go to him if it's something that, they need help with. It's a great move by Gettleman, another diamond in the rough that he found, signed, and look what it's turned into for us.
We also don't really know, as far as I know, have you guys heard any numbers surrounding this deal other than just 3-year?
No, I have not.
I haven't either. I tried to find it. I couldn't find anything.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't even signed the deal yet.
Right,
in fact, he's signing it tomorrow morning or tomorrow when I guess they get to camp. He was under, speaking of this, in March of last year, a little over a year, on CarolinaCatChronicles.com, I believe I put out a story that was Kurt Coleman, a Mike Mitchell redux, and that was how you were able to, how Dave Gettleman found a guy who has a nose for the ball, who brings a kind of a veteran presence, but he signed him to a 2-year, $2.8 million deal. We paid Kurt Coleman last year $750,000 for 7 interceptions.
Wow.
Talk about a great deal. You know that this was exactly the type of performance that Kurt Coleman. Well, think of this, is that the Panthers, he went ahead and signed with the Panthers early. They didn't pay him big money. Dave Gettleman isn't coming out and hitting him like with super cash. This is the Michael Orr type deal. Thank you for your service. You can stay here and play on a good team, and you'll get paid fairly, and you'll have a good kind of end of your career almost in a stable place.
Because he's been in 4 he did 4 years with the Eagles, a year with, 4 years with the Eagles, a year with the Chiefs, and now 2 years with the Panthers. So he does have about 3, maybe 4 years left in him, and he can play. He can be on a contender for those final years.
Some people are saying they're guessing $30 million. There is no way. No way.
Extension?
3-year extension. No, that's way too high. I bet you it's going to come out to be like a 3-year deal. Oh, let's do bets. All right, so my bet, and what we'll do is we'll give, if you send us a tweet or you hit it, you got to send us a tweet or send us an email or something, because the YouTube comments go away after we close the show, like the live chat. So if you guys, the person that gets closest to the actual deal, the overall number and the guaranteed, those 2 figures, and we're actually going to take the difference between the 2. Closest one gets a CamWow. All right.
Am I eligible?
Yeah, no. We're all eligible. I'm winning this whole thing. All right, so I'm going to go, I'll start us off. I'm going to go 3 years, $12 million total with $7 million guaranteed.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go 3 years, $18 million with 9 guaranteed, half of it guaranteed.
Okay.
All right, I'm going 3 years, $12 million with, I'm gonna say 9 million guaranteed.
Wow, that's like a heavy. I'm gonna win this. All right.
You think that's too
that
rich?
way you save on shipping costs.
I don't think it's rich. I think your number is close, Joey, but I think that the guarantee's too high.
You think the guaranteed 9 on 12?
Yeah, and we're not talking about cash flow either. So it's like, I mean, he's probably
$4 million a year. You think that's all he's getting? Not that sucks, but
Yeah.
really?
Well, I mean, it's not like if he was
maybe five, but here it's about like Joey is saying, like, here we got if he gets $9 million and then he has a salary of.
But think about this though. 7 interceptions, as you said. He was a leader of that backfield, and that defensive backfield is going to struggle this year, and they need some longevity. Going into next year, what do we have, like $40-some-odd million in the cap space? That would have to be the worst agent in the world if all he gets his Pro Bowl safety with 7 interceptions and a team with $40 million in cap gets him $4 million a year. That'd be kind of weak.
I think, all right, then it's going to be 5. I mean, Dave Gettleman is not going to come off the dime a ton for the dude.
Well, I'm going 6. I said 3 years, 18.
Okay. All right. There's 3 years. I see 3 years, 15 with 7 guaranteed, and Shakib put 3-year, $15 million. We need a guarantee there. And now Savage Cam is just being a jerk. He said $120 million. All right. Next in the news, Mel. Final thoughts on Kirk Coleman. Do you really think he's? I mean, I think that he'll admit in negotiations that he's a system guy for us. Is that he can go play with another team and he might make a little bit more. But imagine having 3 years on a team that's playoff eligible every year. You make that $12 million instead of 15 or something, actually that's a big difference for a guy like that. But you got to think he's not going to have 7 interceptions this year.
No, I think that he's.
I don't know. He might. I don't know.
I mean, that's a really good year, dude.
You think he peaked his first year in a new system?
No. This would have been his second year, right?
Well, this coming year, yeah.
Coming year. That was his first year with us. I don't think it's just a new system. Well, maybe 7 picks for
Regardless of the money, it's a great signing. I'm glad to have him.
Yes,
Okay.
There's no doubt. That's clearly a good signing for sure, for multiple reasons.
Next bet. How many interceptions? Okay. Speaking of not betting, but playing to win the game, we opened the C3 Fantasy Football Challenge after last week's show. I stayed up. I got it up, I believe, either that night or Wednesday. Now, if you guys haven't seen, the C3 Fantasy Football Challenge is a fantasy football league that is tailored specifically for Panther fans. The prize this year is the grand prize is $300 in a Vernon Butler jersey. Each week we're giving away Panther prizes, and this is all to celebrate. Like, we have a good time. You get to play fantasy football with Panther fans. Now, this is the C3 Challenge is special, and that it is big, and there are some layers to it. But guys, and people have heard this. It's 4 12-team leagues, and all of those leagues are separate, but we keep up with them together in a little way. And we have an overall winner. It's easy to get in. It's only $25. $40 if you want to get all the awesome stuff like the T-shirt, the Cam Wow, and an opportunity to win a K1 short autographed football. Some other prizes as well. Chris Jenkins autograph ticket stub to the 2004 Super Bowl. So there's only, I think, 13 spots left, or 12. We sold like, should we say there were like 15 teams between 11 o'clock at night and 6 in the morning, guys, the first night. That's pretty awesome.
That is.
So Mel, tell us any thoughts things you want to talk about with the Fantasy Football League and the challenge coming up. I know you're a big active player in the league, and you had a good time last year.
Yep, this is year number 3. And the first year we put it out there, this was just kind of an idea that the three of us kicked around and said, hey, it would be fun to do something like this. And we brainstormed, came out with this fun format. The first year, it was like pulling teeth to get people to understand it and to try it and to get into it. Then last year, it was incredibly popular. There was a wait list to get in. We almost had to open a new league. This year, it's even more popular. It's crazy. It's fun because if you play fantasy football, you're out there and you're playing with your buddies from high school or something, which is cool, but they all have different teams that they like, and they're all over the country. These folks, or this league, is only Panther fans. So, it's kind of fun to watch on draft night, kind of the dynamics of the Panthers defense going in maybe the 3rd round, or, Cam Newton going 1st overall, or Jonathan Stewart going in the 2nd round. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, we mix it up every week. One week it's, hey, if you had the worst week and scored the fewest points, you win, a Panthers T-shirt. Or if whoever came in even Steven is one of the weeks, right? So there's a different theme every week. So it's not only the team with the stacked team that's going to win prizes, and it's Panther prizes every week. It's just fun. So if you're out there, just go to our website, check us out on Twitter. Go ahead and sign up, send it over to your friends, and let's have some fun.
I think, if you want to sign up, there's only, like I said, 12 or 13 spots left, and I know people want them. So the people that are just kind of waiting and hesitating are going to lose those spots.
First come, first serve.
I couldn't do, it's the level of popularity, guys. I didn't do any grouping of people together. Like sometimes like an uncle and a sister will want to play in the same league or something like that. This time we simply because it has been so popular, is that to make it as completely fair. That's not unfair the other way. It's just, family stuff. But first person, first slot, second person, second slot. And that's like 38 teams already, guys. It's fantastic. It is such a great time. And, guys, I would like to keep doing this. Joey, today, and I didn't necessarily buy it for a fantasy football league or a prize, but I bought it for the shelf I'm going to build on that wall shortly. And that is, I got a signed Kevin Green commemorative 2004 Super Bowl football. So it's just got like a Super Bowl pattern on it, and it's signed. And so I bought it today, and then what do I hear? I press buy, and then the next thing I do is I open up Twitter, and it comes out Kevin Green is he was going to be inducted. He's going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame, but the old coach, Capers, right? Tell me who's the coach that for the Panthers.
Dom Capers.
Yeah, is going to announce him because he was his coach in San Francisco as well, I believe.
Right. That's right.
So kind of cool, but if we do something else that I'm always trying to pick up stuff, and we do it for the fans and things. So any other news that you guys want to talk about that is hot before we get to special guest Damiere Byrd?
Well, one other thing I'll say about the fantasy football is one of my very favorite shows of the entire year is when we announce all 48 Panther team names, or the names. That's some of the most creative names that come out. Like, what were some of them last year? One Flew Over the Keepley's Nest.
Yeah.
Yes. You know what my team name is going to be this year? If I'm a team, I might not even be a team. I might have to just sell give my spot to another commissioner because I told a couple of guys that I needed their help. But my team was going to be Dabbin Ain't Done, and I was going to put Dabbin Ain't D-U-N-N.
Oh, nice.
I like that.
So Savage Cam asked, where can you get into this fantasy football challenge? You can go to CarolinaCatChronicles.com. You can click any link that we have it as an announcement bar. As soon as you go to the website, you can see it'll say, join the Fantasy Football League now. Not a pop-up. It's really small. You can go to the C3 Fantasy Football Challenge page, which is just in the drop-down menu. and I think I even have a link right away. Joey's moving furniture.
Sorry.
Okay. We did sign somebody this week.
Yeah, tight end.
What's his deal? I saw he was a basketball player and a rugby player or something. What, do you guys know anything about him?
Was his name Hamilton? Is that his last name?
Alex Hamilton? No, that can't be right. Something like that. Somebody will tell us, I'm sure. But this guy, there's no way this dude's making the team, is he?
No, I mean one of the camp battles I was going to talk about coming up is the tight end spot. I don't see that guy fitting in. But hey, last year, how excited was everybody about Kurt Coleman this time of year? Yeah. You never know. You never know.
All right.
No kidding. All right. Okay, well, you can, again, CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Go ahead and give us a like. If you're watching on YouTube and you're new to the show, welcome. We're here every Tuesday night. Go ahead and hit your subscribe button on YouTube. We love to continue to grow Panther Nation. If you're listening later on iTunes, give us a review. Give us a share. Right now, we're going to jump into the Damiere Byrd interview, guys. It's about 10 minutes, and I'm just going to play it through. So we'll be active on social media. And here's Damiere Byrd with the Carolina Panthers. A C3 exclusive. Now I'd like to welcome Carolina Panthers wide receiver Damiere Byrd to the C3 podcast. How's it going, man?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm fantastic. We spoke with you last year, and we really want to thank you for taking your time to catch up with the Carolina Panther fans before you go into training camp. My first question for you is, what's different for you as a player going in to your second training camp, your second year in the NFL?
I think it's just knowing what's going on. It's not a new scene anymore. I know exactly how our team is run. I know, the ins and outs of our organization. So there will be no surprises in me walking in the training camp.
Speaking of that, I was going to ask this later on. What was the biggest surprise last year when is there anything that, as from the outside looking in, that you were like, wow, this is different than I expected?
It wasn't much. I mean, at the end of the day, football is football, and it doesn't really change. But I think that just the way everything was organized as far as how meetings went, how day-to-day daily activities went, was what really surprised and what really had everybody on their toes that first year.
I'm so surprised at how little you guys practice. And when I mean little, I know you guys practice and work real hard, but it'll be like, run this route one time and now you got it. And at least that's what we see from training camp, is that you expect, right. If I had to do something, I would do it like 100,000 times. Now I know you've done that growing up. But to me, that just shows the level that pros have, to where you can learn something and master something so quickly. So with that said, what have you worked on this offseason to try to better master about your game?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me offseason was gaining weight and getting a little bit more strength. And I think that was evident in a lot of the reports that came out during OTAs. So really for me, it was really adding that weight and still finding that comfortable place for me to still be able to move and still be able to utilize the assets that I have, in my game.
How do you go about doing that? Do you just pound a ton of protein?
A lot of eating and a lot of eating, a lot of lifting, and really, hydrating and getting a lot of calories in during the day.
I hear you. How much did you put on?
I put on about 6, 7, 8 pounds.
Nice, man. Lean, fast, and mean. I like it. I would like to ask, Coach mentioned that you were getting bigger. And do you think that this will help your game? Maybe you're and I know that you haven't had injury problems, but or any that I know of, but will it help your durability? What do you think that adding that 8-9 pounds does for Damiere Byrd?
I think it'll help for durability. Just the wear and tear an entire season on really, it takes a toll after a while. But I mean, I think also just the weight in general, just a lot of about perception and perspective on everybody, the way they look at me as a small guy.
I hear you. Speaking, there's some big competition at wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers this year. And I know what you're going to say, or what you should say, which is I can only control what I do. I got to do the best that I can in camp. What do you have to do to show, to prove to this team and to the competition in that receiver group that you deserve a helmet on Sundays?
I think with a core as deep as ours is really letting and showing the coaches know that you can play any position that you have, and everything that's going on regardless of what spot that they put you in. When it gets to so many talented players like we have, it gets down to the more of the knowledge perspective and being able to utilize yourself in our system.
So you're saying that they pretty much know what you can do physically, and a lot of guys and anybody in the pros are physically gifted in many ways, but you have to show them at a level that you can take on that professionalism and be ready anytime your number's called?
Yes.
I like that. And how have you gone about, we see, all we get are the reports from the news and things like that. How do you do that when you're not with when you're in the off season? How do you continue to work on that? Do you just work on keeping like your football knowledge up in general? What do you do to continue to come into camp and show that you're better prepared and the best guy for the job?
I'm really just, saying into your notes that you take during the season. If you're around the facility to be able to get in and watch film and really kind of look at everybody and, see who's played well for us, what they've done right, and try to learn from them. So that's what I've really done all off season.
Ron Rivera spoke a lot about in these reports that you mentioned earlier about how great that commitment was from you. And so that's really exciting to hear that from you as well. Is there anything in particular that stands out that Coach Prohl has, tried to get you guys to embrace that's related to that preparation side? Is there, because we kind of think of this as Coach Prohl, like he's like a master guru of wide receivers. What has he taught you as an individual coach?
Coach Prohl is a great coach, and I think he gives us a lot of confidence in ourselves. And, he always tells us that if he wants to put us out there in any situation, and if we can get his trust and show him that we're committed to it and show him that we're trying to learn and understand everything, that he'll give us every shot that we have and that we can possibly get in order to play. So that's really what it comes down to, and just trying to show him that we know what we're doing, and so he had the ability to go out and fight for us.
Did you get to go to the Under Armour facility with Cam and the other receivers?
Yeah, we all went down there last week.
How did that go? I mean, was that like a good experience for you to continue to develop a repertoire with Cam?
Yeah, I mean, that trip is really a lot about the team bonding that we have, and we also did this trip last year for 2 weeks, and it was really just the same, just hanging out, being able to really hang out with everybody outside of football that we normally don't get to have the time to do.
Have you seen any changes with Cam and in a positive, because we're seeing the MVP of the football league of the NFL, really with a continued ceiling. The ceiling is nowhere in sight for how good he can be. Are you seeing things like in his demeanor and his personality about, that is there a coolness or a leadership thing that you even see even more? Or is he just the same old Cam?
I think the unique thing about him is no matter what it is, he's still himself, and I think that he's still the Cam that came in however many years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. He's obviously has matured as a player and as a person, but his demeanor and his personality is still the same, and he still has that ambition to continue to get better and hopefully come back and try to win a Super Bowl at some point in his career.
All right, and some personal questions for you. Out of the receiver group, who's the funniest?
Man, we have a really funny group. I think
who trips you out the most?
The funniest either has to be Ted or Devin or Funches. Those two are always laughing and giggling.
All right, now we all know that we're always joking and picking on the people we love most. So who's the most sensitive? You don't got to answer it if you want. If you don't want.
Yeah, I'll plead the fifth on this.
Okay, all right, okay. So I've already asked you about something that surprised you. My last question for you, and then we'll get out of your hair for the day, is we're excited about training camp opening up. We have a series here at CarolinaCatChronicles.com called Bird Watching because, we not only want to see you do well in the NFL, but we believe in you. And we're from North and South Carolina, so a lot of people that read our stuff also followed you when you were in college as well. So can you tell us, for people that read that series, Bird Watching, what they should be watching from number 18 in training camp this month?
Just a lot of confidence and just the playmaking ability and being out there every day, knowing exactly what's going on. So just be mindful and watch out for the big plays to be made and the confidence that I have.
Fantastic. Well, Damiere Byrd, thank you so much for taking your time to meet with us and speak with us. And we're going to be at training camp, so we'll be giving you some loud cheers from the crowd.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much.
That was Carolina Panthers wide receiver Damiere Byrd, and really just a nice guy. He seems to have he's well-spoken, very calm, not excitable, but you can hear that kind of youthful enthusiasm in his voice. Joey, what stood out to you about that conversation with Damiere Byrd?
Well, I think I got the feeling like he connected. He wasn't feeding us a line of crap. He was really, giving us his honest answer, not just what he thinks we want to hear. You did a great job of letting him off the hook with that one question.
Boy, it went dead silence, didn't it?
The sweat started pouring.
He was like, I can't make these guys mad. First of all, they're all 6'5", A, and B, hasn't even gotten a hat yet. But
well, hey, Just Joan out there on Twitter says, Ted Ginn's got to be the most sensitive.
Oh yeah,
that guy's got to have the thickest skin ever. If he listens to this show, dude, he has a thick skin.
Oh yeah,
and I know he doesn't, but.
But let me tell you my thoughts on Byrd. I love the guy, and I love the diversity that he brings to this receiving core because you got the Twin Towers, right? You got Kelvin Benjamin, you got Devin Funchess, you got Greg Olsen. You got three huge guys that are going to be main targets. So I think it's incredibly important to have that change of pace, that quick, net on speed type of guy, which is what the key for him is going to be. Can he be reliable? That was the biggest thing I got from the interview was, man, it's so much more than just the physical skills at the NFL level. It's the intelligence. It's the 6 inches between your ears. Can you be ready? Can you be counted on? So that was a great interview. And then also, can he be counted on to be a punt returner? I think that's going to be key for him to be with the Panthers long term. I
think that weight, I know that weight doesn't seem like a tremendous amount when you're talking about 7 pounds, but when you're only 180, soaking wet, and you go up to 187, there is a noticeable difference, I would say. The other thing is I do think that bulking up isn't necessarily – it's going to help him get off the line a little bit more. It's also, and you do have to slightly worry about a guy of that frame, like returning punts.
Mm-hmm.
You do, and also with that weight,
he could be fantastic at it, but it's just the actual impact.
Right? Can he take it week after week? Right. But at that weight, it's important too in the Panther system to be able to block as a wide receiver. So any extra weight's going to help there.
I think though, what you mentioned is that there's a diversity. Is that if you think about the guys that we know in the wide receiving core that are going to play a lot, it's going to be Kelvin Benjamin, it's going to be Devin Funchess, and it's going to be Ted Ginn Jr. Those are the three guys that we know are going to get the most snaps, or we really expect to get the most snaps. Now, there's some sleepers that we're thinking. For me, it's Stephen Hill is going to get some real playing time potentially. If he just makes the team, I don't think they just keep him on the sidelines. And then the question is, who do you go with next? Is it Philly Brown or is it Damiere Byrd? And I'm not talking about getting a helmet, but who do you use in your scheme, in your play calling? And I just feel like Philly Brown and Ted Ginn Jr. play the same game so much that, he did mention what was going to get him on this team was consistent, explosive downfield plays.
Mm-hmm. He knows it.
And so he's just going to go fly in training camp and try to catch the ball over and over. But I do think it brings something different. I mean, if you trotted out Greg Olsen, Kelvin Benjamin, and Funchess all 6'4", and then you put that guy, why don't you just throw into the – what I would do is I would throw into the trips on the side and have Funchess and Benjamin block for him.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I mean, you wouldn't be able to find him.
Right.
You know that? And then all of a sudden he comes shooting out between somebody's legs and gets a touchdown.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that, for sure.
And I don't know if, I just feel at some point we're going to look to diversify a skill set a little bit. I don't know. Right. Joey, how do you feel about that?
As far as Byrd goes with the team?
Yeah. Wouldn't that be the play that you ran, the wide receiver, screen pass?
Like the smoke that we used to do to Steve Smith?
Yeah. Put Benjamin over there with him. And let him take on the first guy and then just go.
Right, and it's on Byrd to make the second guy miss. And I would think that would be his best opportunity to showcase his talents.
Other than just shooting straight down the sideline.
Right.
Or straight down the gut. But he can. I mean, if he can get a release, that kid can be deadly. And I know people are saying this is just us hyping up a guy that we have a soft spot for in many ways. T-Money, like I said, I saw somewhere else. Somebody on Twitter mentioned that don't hype him up like Armani Edwards and give him a spot, make him earn it. Well, I think Armani Edwards drafted had a silver spoon. He was going to make that team for a certain amount of time. And Byrd, different story. But I just lost my train of thought where I was going with that. I have no idea. We saw him in training camp last year, Damiere Byrd, and we also saw him in the preseason game, and it was like the third preseason game, and he got significant looks and snaps in that game with Derek Anderson before you brought in Joe Webb, I believe. And to me, that says something like we're really kind of seeing what this kid can do when he gets out there with the big boys.
Right, we definitely saw that. They wanted to know where he was at with his game. And I think they had to come away at least somewhat impressed. That's why he's back this year. He's got
practice squad, right?
Yeah, he's a little bit bigger. Let's see what he can do.
And it's somebody, I haven't heard Ron Rivera mention Burson's name. I haven't heard Ron Rivera talk about, but we've heard him mention Damiere Byrd's name, so he knows the. It's not like he's just a guy that nobody knows on the team.
Right.
I think he has. I mean, he could edge if Philly Brown's shoulder is giving him a lot of trouble. Remember how cold Philly Brown started at the beginning of the year last year. If he comes out and has a preseason like he did last year and has a banged up shoulder, the Byrd has a real chance at edging him out.
Yeah, I agree. Could not agree more.
You remember he almost got booed out of the stadium in that preseason game. That third preseason game.
I felt bad for the guy. All right. So this is the C3 podcast by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. It's Tuesday night, 10 p.m. You can. We just had an interview with Damiere Byrd for you guys that are tuning in. You can check that out. I'll archive that later on the site. Now, guys, I want to look ahead to training camp specifically. And it opens up this week. Tomorrow. Is it tomorrow or Thursday?
I think they arrive tomorrow. I think they start
the 27th. The 27th?
Or 28th. So it might be Friday, actually. Okay. So it opens at the end of this week. And we know that there are some significant... Well, on C3, we put out a 53-man roster prediction. We did this. We had 4 people contribute. Grant, JP, myself, and P. Nasty, Willie, all put out our projections for what that 53-man roster is. You can go read that story at CarolinaCatChronicles.com. There's also a little voting thing at the bottom of that story. We're kind of interested. We're a little competitive to see who got what fans think is the closest to the money. So just to highlight, let's just look at what Grant put up, guys. And we'll skip quarterback. Well, actually, no, we'll talk about this. Grant does not have Joe Webb making the team.
I can't believe that, man.
Yeah.
I know.
I think he's there.
I think so too, and I think that he's there because there's uncertainty with some of these younger guys and what they could do in special teams. You know, you drafted a lot of guys at some positions that you're going to try to keep on this team, and we don't know how versatile they are, and we don't really get to see some of those plays. I mean, we see it, but we don't know what how many tight ends they're lining up on the offensive line on 2-point conversions or.
But I will say this: have you noticed Grant is right more times than he's wrong?
I know. I mean, I thought Joe Webb was gone before, but yeah.
Grant's
all right, this is who he's got run. Oh, don't worry, we all disagree on everything. So we got some running back. He's got Jonathan Stewart, Cap, Fozzie Whitaker, Mike Tolbert. Who's the odd man out on that list that strikes you guys?
Wager.
Wow. That's another guy I expect to get to be a kickoff return possibility. So you're watching Joe Webb. How much you're really going to depend on how well a guy like Wager or some other people do on kickoff returns in training camp to figure that out, right? Yep. Mike Tolbert again is there. No Devon Johnson for all y'all Rockhead fans. He's got Benji, Funchess, Ted Ginn, Philly Brown, Stephen Hill, and Damiere Byrd. That is my wide receiver lineup. That's 6 wide receivers. He's got 3 tight ends, Greg Olson, Dixon, Bo Sandlin. What do you think about that, guys? Because on the other tight end list, I think I put 4 tight ends. Willie has Olson, Sandland, and Braxton Deaver. And JP has Olson, Sandland, and Marcus Lucas. And I think I'm the only one that went with 4 tight ends with Olson, Dixon, Sandland, and Simonson.
Right, the tight ends. Yeah, Simonson.
What do you expect to see out of this position, Mel, at tight end? How many? What's your gut? Because and this is a cool thing about the story, was he put up the average positions we brought in on the 53. Right. So in 2013, we've had 4 tight ends every year over the last 3 years under Dave Gettleman. So what do you think? Is this the one year you slack off at tight end? I can't see that.
Well, how many wide receivers have we always had? Because if there's such a competition there, I could see us going down to 3 and carrying an extra wide receiver potentially.
Yeah, because that puts us up. If you did the wide receiver core that I want to make it, that I think could make it, because I want to see Damiere Byrd and Stephen Hill on this team.
Exactly. I want to see both those guys.
I'm rooting for both of them. You know, that's an extra wide receiver than we've carried the whole time as well.
Yeah, I mean, who would you rather have? It may come down to, do you want Ed Dixon or Stephen Hill? It might come down to that. I'm taking Stephen Hill all day long, and then maybe you're carrying Greg Olsen, Sandland, and Simonson. And I know they really like Simonson. He's very reliable. They know what he's going to give them each time.
It seems like we always keep a guy that just can do a lot of different things. Who is the Brock? There was a guy that we had that played fullback, halfback, tight end, and he was a special teams guy, and it was
in 3 different games he was the water boy as well.
Yeah, it's Brock something.
I know what you're talking about.
So that's why I think we keep 4 tight ends, because I think you need 2 tight ends to out there blocking on every kick, like a field goal kick or something like the extra point.
Yeah, 4's probably right.
Sorry, guys.
It's okay. We are Joey will ask you, and then we'll move on. How many tight ends? We've run 4 since Gettleman has been around. Some people are thinking I'm the only guy that thinks we bring 4 in on the 53 this time around. Do you see us taking a risk there?
No, I don't think we go 4. I think we go 3, because we've got a couple of other, I think, groups where we need to have an extra one, maybe 2 groups where we want to have an extra one, and so that kind of leaves the tight end out of the loop.
Okay, another interesting kind of position, and one of the things that when you really start watching these rosters closely, like we have tried to do, I just have found myself since we started the website and the podcast, like before I would watch it, but now I try to keep up with it a little bit so we can talk about it. And I realized that a lot of times it's dependent, like Mel suggested earlier when he was saying, what determines your pick here is not who the best tight end is or what that is, but what other positions of need you have to have a rotation, to have some depth at.
Right.
So one of those that I don't think this year, every year it changes.
Brockle.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to Victor_Lapercio out there.
Nice. Okay, so I think this year that the 2 dependent positions are defensive end and defensive tackle, because we went from, in 2012, having no defensive tackles to now we have K'Wan Short, Star Latule, Vernon Butler. That's a first round, and a second round. 2 first rounds and a second round. We also have
Solier,
Kyle Love, and Wes Horton, who actually can play both, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think there's another one up there, too.
Did you say
that he's a defensive end.
Okay.
So I think what we have is we have too many good tackles, and not too many, but I don't think we have enough defensive ends. We have Charles Johnson, we have Coney Ely, we have Mario Addison, and we've got Ryan Dallaire. I feel like we end up, there may be a cut. I think that Love or Solia may not be on this team to keep an extra end in case Charles Johnson gets nicked up.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
That's very plausible. And there's always a chance we pick up a defensive end that gets cut at the end of training camp from another team.
Joey, do you see a need for that? Do you like? Is there any concern? Charles Johnson seems motivated to get a little respect back. He signed with his team, wants to kind of bring back his name. Coney Ely had a monster game in the Super Bowl, and he's really just kind of started to show out when he's on the field. Right. Are these the guys we roll with? You feel good? If they were healthy all year, is that you happy with them 3 downs every time?
I'd like to have a fourth. But, you know, if everybody's healthy, that's definitely a big plus, for sure.
Because didn't we have we had Allen last year who contributed a lot. He played a lot. He hadn't played a lot of snaps. So there's a lot to gamble on if you think that Ely and Johnson can just muscle the snaps themselves.
Right. I don't know that they can do every snap. That's gonna be tough, man.
I mean, I know you'll bring in Mario Addison on like third downs, third longs, and some things like that. Maybe they keep a guy like Wes. I don't think Horton Hears a Who makes this team.
Oh, I think he does.
You do?
Yeah.
Versatile man? Is the Mr. Gladiator?
Well, he is versatile. He can set that edge against the run as a defensive end that not many defensive ends can do, and that's important in the Panther scheme. So I think he's there.
All right. Go ahead.
One question you got is, is somebody like Dwight Freeney who's sitting out there. Do you take somebody? You got all this cap space. If you're not going to sign, if they don't sign Kwan Short before the beginning of this year and they're just going to play it out, they've got some.
We got to use some of that money.
We got to use it, man. That's right.
I think you have to spend 80%.
Yeah. So go out there and sign Freeney to a 1-year deal.
Antonio, speaking of signing people, Antonio Cromartie Watch, I bring this up every couple weeks on the podcast. Now talks and rumors surfacing that he's got a bad hip or that his hip is keeping him from signing, and he took to Twitter saying he's healthy. So all right, cornerback. I think I put something crazy like hold on. I put we kept 7 cornerbacks on the roster.
What do you have that? Do you still have that sound effect? That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Oh, I do have that somewhere up.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
So, this is what I put. All right, so here's the 7 that I think make the team. Sticky Wicky, Ben Wickery, Robert McClain, James Bradbury, Teddy Williams, Daryl Worley, Zach Sanchez, and Leonard Johnson.
Now
All right, tell me this. Tell me this is which one, if 7 is a ridiculous number, and we have only, let me see if we've ever had, we've never had 7. We had 6 in 2013, 4 in 2014, and 5 last year. So that's 2 extra. Which guy on that list doesn't make it? Give me 2 names that are in jeopardy. Is it Leonard Johnson and Teddy Williams?
Well, I see Teddy Williams making it. He's such a special teams ace. He's such a special teams ace. Yeah. That Leonard.
That's why I put him up there.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe 6.
Joey, who's the guy that you give the axe out of that list? You want me to read it one more time?
Yeah, go ahead and read it one more time.
McClain's going to be on the bubble.
It's Sticky Wicky,
right.
Robert McClain,
right.
James Bradbury, Teddy Williams, Daryl Worley, Zach Sanchez, Leonard Johnson.
McClain's going to be on that bubble.
Yeah, McClain will be on the bubble, and isn't there a defense? Is he? I don't know. Maybe he's a safety. Lou Young.
Ooh, yeah. What about Lou Young?
He is listed. I think he was listed as a cornerback, but he can play safety too.
Okay, because he.
You're right. There's a lot of good buzz about him over the summer, over the offseason.
And isn't there the Dean Marlowe or something like that?
Marlowe. That's exactly right.
He's a safety.
Yeah, he's a safety. But
So let's just keep 10 cornerbacks, 12 safeties, and 27 wide receivers.
Well, we just got to figure out a way to go old school and get some of these guys that we want to keep, like Stephen Hill, if he can just go out there and play like something else too.
You know, I was not pulling for him necessarily last year, but I tell you, after an ACL injury and hearing all the man crush reports from Ricky Prohl, I would love to see this guy finally live up to his potential.
Yeah, me too, man.
Awesome. That'd be awesome.
Oh man, it's such a great environment. Is the place that a guy like him can all of a sudden just will be the greatest story. And guess what they'll do? They'll call the professor and they'll be like, this guy supported him through thick and thin, and everybody called this kid crazy when we signed him, and I brought on Frankie V to the show, and I've been excited. I've been blowing that trumpet the whole time. So I hope it works out. I don't know if where else are some other matchups that I think is there any concern? You got to bring 5 linebackers to the table. You got to bring Kuechly, Davis, Thompson. Klein is in his last year. David Mayo. And then you got another guy who, Jeremy Cash, who is the greatest dude on Twitter ever, like the nicest gentleman on earth. You can't root against him. Do we trade? What if we traded A.J. Klein?
For what?
For a third-round pick or a second-round pick next year or a cornerback or
a defensive end.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Klein. He's very.
Yeah, but he's in the last year of his deal, though.
Yeah, I know. But
which means he may show out, which means he may play very well.
Right, and the thing with Klein is, you know, if Kuechly goes down, you feel comfortable with who you have back there. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, you know, I know he's going to do a few things not quite as well, but overall he's going to be a good player to have.
Plus, he gave me a free wristband one time, so he.
Yeah, well, you know, he's high in your book.
Yep, that's true. He's a good dude.
I think I got his signature too. He is a nice guy. He's a he's a middle linebacker. So you're right, Joey. If you want to keep somebody around for depth, if you think about who you've got on the team and you want to but can't. The question is can Mayo play it now? I think he's a middle linebacker too, as well. You've got 2 outside linebackers. You could make do.
That is a big camp battle to watch, A.J. Klein and David Mayo.
But we won't cut Klein.
No.
It would definitely be a trade.
But who will win that backup spot? You may not be able to get a trade, but who will win that backup spot?
Mayo made a lot of plays on special teams last year.
Yeah, he did.
He's super athletic. He's more athletic than A.J. Klein is.
And we had him on the show last year too, so we like him.
With Mayo, I think it's just experience. The longer he's in the system, the more he learns. We'll see improvements in him.
It's a great story too. That's the guy that he was living in somebody's shed in their backyard during college. Remember that?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he lived and he did that so he could go to a prep school or something like that, and then a junior college, and then get to a college. It is a cool story, and it's another one of the. Mayo last year was the James Bradbury of this year for the Panthers draft, and that is there's always somebody, it seems, that they just decided that they were going to draft before the first pick. It's like we're gonna draft David Mayo in the 5th round or the 3rd. I mean, we got him in the 4th round or something with a compensatory pick or the real pick. So they just do it. So, one other camp battle is what about the dang punter?
Oh, that's a good point.
Oh, and by the way, we took Bradbury in the 2nd round.
Yeah, I know, but we took Mayo in the 4th.
Or 5th. One of those.
I think, yeah. But I think it's like it doesn't. Nobody thought that those dudes would go there. Like nobody even knew who Mayo was.
Right.
Like, not at all. Like everybody had to.
Just like Bradbury, you're exactly right. Just like Bradbury, we're the only team that he visited.
Yeah, I mean that's why there's always that one pick.
Yeah.
Swayze Waters. What the heck? What kind of name is that, by the way?
Now, that might be somebody's fantasy football team name this year.
Swayze High Waters?
Or the Crazy Swayzes. Something.
The Patrick Swayze Waters?
Yes,
or Dirty Dancing with a Big Left Leg?
Right.
Oh, man. Okay, so that show, by the way, guys, is going to be on August 23rd. That is a Tuesday night podcast, I believe. And we're going to do it 9:30 before our show. We're going to draw the name for the winner of the autograph K1 Short Football. We are going to give away the Chris Jenkins ticket stub. We're also going to give away some shirts and some other stuff for best team name, worst team name, things like that. So we'll have a good time. That's always a fun time. And most importantly, if you're in the C3 Fantasy Football Challenge, you'll find out what your draft order is in your league.
Yeah.
So then the draft is going to be that following Sunday on August 28th. So you guys can tune in for that show. You better grab your spot in the C3 Fantasy Football Challenge. And if they do fill up and you still have interest, send me an email, because if we get enough interest, we'll consider opening a second one, but not unless there's like an overwhelming need. Any other camp things? Any camp talk? The girl gang. Oh my gosh. We forgot to do. I got to do the ice up picks too.
Yeah, we definitely got to do that. But just real quick, my biggest thing that I'm watching is, does Darrell Williams beat out Mike Rimmers? To me, that's just...
No. Okay. Joey, do you think he can?
I think he has the ability to, yes. Rimmers, again, is a relatively young guy, so they're both minimally experienced. So it should be a great battle, but I think he has the ability, yes.
I'll tell you, we're playing Denver week 1. Von Miller and that huge contract. Woo! I don't want to see a repeat of that Super Bowl.
No, I think we should take him out.
Right.
I think and just to close up the training camp thoughts, I'll be watching Stephen Hill and Damiere Byrd because that's who I'm cheering for. I'll also be watching the running back to see if there's any surprises there or if they play it conservative. I think Fozzie Whitaker is the guy that could be an odd man out this year. And one other thing that I'm going to be watching is Rakeem Cox. And I feel like there's been some good talk about him, or some, they like the kid. He's worked hard. I think he may have been injured or something. But there's been the team has invested a little interest in him. And we're looking for the next guy. Is Ryan Dallaire the guy that can continue, or is he just a 2-game player that had 2 games last year and that we saw all he can do? And the other, I just saw Christina. She just tweeted this: why does the mention of the girl gang make you think of ice up picks? And I will tell you why I should ice y'all up, because of that Twitter DM message thing I had to witness today, where they went on a cat call, like a cat call parade. Like guys when we cat call at a girl out the window or something driving by. They kept putting all these like man pictures up of their crushes or whatever, and it was just like shirtless dude after shirtless dude in my dang messages.
I know, right? I mean, shoot. That made me get down and do 10 push-ups.
You better make it fitty. You know what it made me do is just like drink more.
That's it. Drown those sorrows away.
I am not drinking tonight. First podcast in a while. All right, ice up picks. Fellas, I think I got some ice cubes for you.
Oh, no.
Nice.
All right. Time to ice it up. It's our favorite. It's the oldest running segment on Carolina Cat Chronicles on the C3 podcast, and that is the Ice Up Picks, where we tell somebody to ice up, to toughen up, to get it together. It's our homage to Steve Smith and that feistiness. Everybody is fair game from all across the world. This is the one time we even let you even talk politics on the show, but we hate when you do that. Still, who you got tonight, Mel? You got somebody good for me?
Well, this is the last podcast before football season starts, because when training camp starts, it's full go the rest of the year, right? I mean, from here until starting next Tuesday through February, we've got actual Panther practices, Panther games, whatever to talk about, which is exciting. This is the last off-season really podcast of the year, so I'm going to take advantage of that and spare the NFL world from my frigid ice-up pick. So I'm not going to ice up Miko Grimes or the NFL, the Dallas Cowboy defensive line, who, by the way, Randy Gregory is facing an additional suspension. He's already
in rehab, and now he's checking himself in.
Brutal. So that whole defensive line are very
been
worthy.
a first-round pick.
Definitely. Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of worthy ice-up candidates out there, but I'm going to go off the reservation a little bit. I'm not going to talk football, and I'm just going to talk in general. You remember the old bumper sticker before there ever were hashtags, the old bumper sticker that says mean people suck? Remember that?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
I'm just going to talk about mean people for a second because, life is short and life is fragile, and there's been things that have happened in my family and my community that made me, even realize that even more. Life is short, life is fragile. You can't spend your time being a douchebag. You can't spend your time being mean people. I mean, in this time of year with the election season, you see your Facebook feed fills up with, oh, I hate Hillary Clinton, or oh, I hate Donald Trump, or oh, I hate this guy, and if you're a Republican, don't be a friend with me. If you're a Democrat, don't mess with me or don't talk to me, and defriending's going on. It's absolutely crazy and ridiculous. And then the world that we're living in today, man, it's just, there's always been chaos, there's always been wars, there's always been stuff going on, but man, I mean, with the terrorism that's going on, the hatred against other races, I mean, if you're white, you're hated. If you're black, you're hated. If you're too politically correct, you're hated. If you're not politically correct enough, you're hated. There's just so much hatred out there. And there's so many.
It's like being a damn falcon. That's what they feel like. Everybody hates you.
Right. Exactly right. So there's just so much meanness and hatred out there. I mean, and there's so much I can talk about, from guys getting girls pregnant and leaving them in vulnerable situations, and just all the different kind of crap that goes on day to day. But there's so many versions of meanness and hatred. I'm not going to get on here and preach. I am very much a Christian, and I very much believe in Christian values, but I'm not going to force that on anybody. But whatever values you hold, I think the fundamental human value is goodness, and that's the standard that you hold yourself to. And let's just, as people, let's just each be a little bit better tomorrow. And just for all the mean people out there, you all suck, and mean people, you just need to ice up. That's all I got.
Well done. There's a lot of them. A lot of crazy-ass people. Did you hear about that ninja dude that crawled into a place in Japan, that old people's home, and killed 19 people?
With a knife,
I know.
There's so much.
Samurai.
It's crazy.
Yeah. That's a ninja, because a samurai would go and use the Bushido code, and he would protect those people.
Right.
Joey, do you have an ice-up pick for us this week?
I do. It's This goes to, I wish I knew more of the story, but this ice-up pick goes to some gentlemen who members of ISIS that broke into the church at Normandy, I believe, in France.
Yeah, this is awful.
And they slit the throat of the priest there, and they used nuns as human shields trying to get out. So that just tells you, man, and it's what bothers me the most is, sure, some people talked about this story, yes, but had this been Christians going into a Muslim,
oh my goodness, that would have burned down the planet.
Right, exactly. And that's my point. Christianity does not get the same respect, does not get the same, is not held to the same value and standards as other religions. And when you look about what religions have been around a very long time, our country was founded around Christianity and a good set of morals and always doing the right thing. And it's just a shame that more people don't remember that. But back to my point, these evil people that were purported to do these attacks, they need to be iced up, and then they need to burn in hell. And I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Way to send the dagger at the end.
Really? If you think about it, those peaceful people in that church, they didn't deserve that. That's bringing terror, and that's exactly what terrorism is.
It's barbarism, and it's just barbaric. It's just barbaric. Ice up to barbarians and all of that. My ice up pick goes to something a little bit lighter than that.
A 9-year-old somewhere in Europe.
Yeah, that's right. Watch out, you 9-year-old terrorist. I'm coming for you. Mine goes to ESPN and ESPN Radio. And now, I also think that I'm not a person that likes to typically bash. I try, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have bashed it. I think it's kind of become hipster to bash ESPN. And like the one person that all of a sudden thinks Chris Berman sucks. Like if you diss on Chris Berman, you are just trying to diss to be cool, because know that guy he made so much about sports coverage and things. But so I'm not dissing on ESPN because look, they're the leading all this. But one thing they saw that I heard their commercial before, when you're riding in the car and then they got the commercial about what they're going to talk about on Monday or something like that, and it was on Mike and Mike's show, I think, the bumper for their show, and it was something like Monday morning, Mike and Mike, continuous coverage of Ezekiel Elliott and his accusation of domestic violence. Now, I know that the Dallas Cowboys are a popular team with a big market, but do we really need continuous coverage of something that says like that the four witnesses that were there didn't see anything happen? Now, I'm not saying anything didn't happen. I'm not saying we dismiss it. But is it going to be like when you turn on the nightly news, is it the Republican convention, the Democrat convention, and then Ezekiel Elliott's story? So, I say you cover the news and you make it, but let's not sensationalize things that are let's cover it. Let's be judicious about it. Let's not turn our head. Let's talk out against things when we see wrong. But at some point, are you really doing it to do that, or are you just doing it to, I don't know, whatever. So ice up to that. All right, this is the C3 podcast. We're going to jump on out of here. We went long. We went 15 minutes long. We had a special guest, Damiere Byrd. Thank you so much, and good luck with training camp coming up. My name is Tony Dunn, the professor. You can hit me up at @cat_chronicles on Twitter. Mel, tell them how they can find you, because I know you love to talk Panthers with anybody.
I do. You catch me anytime at Panthers Drafter on Twitter. Give me a follow, and I'll follow you back. Talk to me anytime. Happy to do it.
Joe Riolano, thanks for being on the show. As usual, you're a rock for this show. So how can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Joe Riolano. Look, we've got so much going on, folks. So much going on. There's lots to be excited about. Don't forget about the fantasy football. If you want to play, you better hop on it, because those seats are going fast. This is the C3 podcast. We are brought to you by Fan First Productions, who, believe me, the biggest thing we want to do is provide you the best content from the fans' perspective. We do it because we love it.
All right, because without the fan, football is just a kid's game. Like I said, you can check us out Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Get in the Fantasy Football League. Go get you that Vernon Butler jersey. I know a lot of people are hungry for it. Come back with us Tuesday night next week. We'll be here chopping up the opening of training camp. See you then.